stream. Oh, there we go. Okay, excellent. Well, once again, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the April 28, 2022 North Clackamas School District open session. Excited to have you all here. We're going to begin with our native land acknowledgement. Director Bauer.
Thank you, Chair Ford. North Clackamas School District Native Land Acknowledgement. We acknowledge the land on which we sit and which we call the North Clackamas School District. It rests on the traditional and indigenous lands and village sites of the native peoples of the Kalapuya, Chinook, Malala, and Clackamas. We take this opportunity to offer gratitude for the ability to learn, work, and be a community on this land. And we offer thanks to the original caretakers of this region. We recognize the historic policies of colonization, genocide, relocation, and assimilation that affected Indigenous and Native families, both past, present, and that will affect those in the future. We honor the resilience, revitalization of the Indigenous and Native communities. We pay our respects to the elders, both past, present, who have been the stewards of this land throughout the generations.
Thank you. Director Schrader, lead us in the flag salute. Thank you so much. Next on the agenda, we have our minutes from April 14, 2022. I open the floor for a motion.
Move approval of minutes from April 14th, 2022.
It's been properly moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Excellent. All in favor to approve these minutes, please say aye.
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 Excellent. Minutes approved.
Nobody calling in.
No, it's just the four of us. Just so based on that question, I will say a quorum for our board is 4 people. We do not have any board members online. It's just the 4 of us. Okay, next on our agenda is our consent agenda. We have employment changes, 2022-2023 board meeting schedule, middle school and high school fees, Oregon School Employee Association Collective Bargaining Agreement 2022 to 2024. Open the floor for a motion.
Move approval of consent agenda that includes employment changes, 2022-2023 board meeting schedule, middle school and high school fees, and Oregon School Employee Association Collective Bargaining Agreement 2022 to 2024.
Have a second?
Director Benaloga, second.
It's been properly moved and second. Did you get that done? I'm sorry, I went fast the first time. Excellent. All in favor of the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
And I'm also an aye. Consent agenda is now approved. Next, we have community comments. We have 1 person online, but before we begin, I'd like to recognize in our audience today, we do have 2 elected officials, and anytime we have, my mic is a little buzzy. Is that just me or what am I doing? Okay, got it. We have 2 elected officials in the audience that I do want to recognize. We have Milwaukee City Councilman Desi Nicodemus. Welcome. We also have our longtime friend and past school board member for 8 years, Cheryl Myers. Thank you both for being here. And online, we do have a speaker, Denise Metcalf. Whenever you're ready, can she see the timer? Probably not. So, oh, I do need to read it before you begin. Denise, just a reminder. So this is policy DDH. All of our policies can be found on our website. And I read the most important part. It is longer than what I read. but this is the comment at a meeting policy. Any individual desiring to speak may indicate their desire by submitting their name, city of residence, either email address or phone number, and the group, if any, that is represented on the sign-in sheet or online form prior to board meeting. A speaker should give their name, city of residence, and the group, if any, that is represented, and will limit their presentation to 3 minutes. If there are more patrons desiring to present comments than time allotted, the board chair has the authority to reduce the presentation time for individual speakers or institute a prioritization process with attention to order of sign up of city of residence. City speakers may offer objective criticisms of district operations and programs that are of a concern to them. The board is restricted from hearing and will not consider complaints regarding any individual district staff member or any person connected with the district. As an organization centered around youth and their positive development, all speakers will model respectful public comment and be mindful of civil discourse. The board vests in its chair or other presiding officer authority to terminate the remarks of any individual when those remarks do not adhere to the rules established in this policy. Okay, we will begin with you, Ms. Metcalf. Are you ready?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
We can. Please state your name and city, please.
Denise, are you able to see the notice about the live meeting? Because on our screen, some people in the room can't see you. It's right in front of your face.
Yeah, I see it on the picture of me, but I don't see it anywhere on my screens. I can just do this. Does that work okay?
I think that works.
That's perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
My name is Denise Metcalf and I live in Portland. I teach at Alder Creek Middle School. I teach science. And if there is anything I've learned from this pandemic, it is flexibility. Are you still able to hear me? It looks like something, yes, thumbs up. Okay, something went a little strange. I wanted to use this opportunity, thank you for having the timer for me, that helps, to talk about my experience as a teacher, both during the pandemic and how that comes over to my experience now with being in person in the classroom again. With teaching online, we all did our very best. We had lots of tools available to us. We were creative, all of those good things. We had the best of intentions. And due to many circumstances outside of our control, there was a loss of community culture as well as classroom culture. And now that we've come back into person in the classroom, it feels like we've lost some basic awareness of a classroom situation. And I don't have any magic solutions, but I will say that when I think about how to help us teachers do the very best that we can and create the very best circumstance we can, especially after this difficult time and recouping back to creating a good circumstance, everything comes down to relationships. And to have the best relationship possible, it's having, as you know, be able to have time to make the connections with the students. And that relates to how many students are in your class. So I know it's always been a hot button item, but for me, it really comes home that class size is really super important. I've been able to handle the class sizes that we have. It works fine. I have a little bit of a variety, but it is very clear to me that the fewer students I have in a class, the more I'm able to connect with them personally on all levels, academically, relationship wise. Like, we are able to connect in so many important ways that really helps to deal with all the challenges that we have as a teacher and as students, to be more effective in the relationship that we have and the work that we do. I just want to wrap up by saying that I am so impressed at Alder Creek Middle School, because that's where I work specifically, that as I listen to other staff members, that it is clear that why we are here and our emphasis is on the students, and it is on the students first. And I'm just really pleased to work here, really pleased to work in this district. And I'm so impressed with those who are here putting the students first and doing whatever they need to try to create the best learning atmosphere for our community possible. So thank you.
Thank you for that. So for everyone in the room, we do have a digital timer. It will be on this table in the front. We will begin it after you state your name and city. So the first person that we'll bring up is Chelsea Hendricks.
Can they hear you? No. Oh.
Turn on your mic. Is your mic on? And name and city first, please.
Yeah. Chelsea Hendricks from Clackamas. Thank you for this time. I wanted to provide some statistics to continue to support the teachers, staff, and administration at Oregon Trail Elementary as they continue to ensure a safe and inclusive environment for all students in the community. The Trevor Project is an organization that provides 24/7 crisis support services to LGBTQ youth, and their research consistently finds that LGBTQ young people report lower rates of attempting suicide when they have access to LGBTQ affirming spaces. Having at least one accepting adult can reduce the risk of a suicide attempt among LGBTQ young people by 40%. LGBTQ youth who reported having at least one LGBTQ affirming space had 35% reduced odds of reporting a suicide attempt in the past year, the strongest association being with LGBTQ affirming schools. LGBTQ youth who report the presence of trusted adults in their school have higher levels of self-esteem and access to supportive peers, is protective against anxiety and depression, including among those who lack support from their families. Transgender and non-binary youth who reported having pronouns respected by all or most people in their lives attempted suicide at half the rate of those who did not have their pronouns respected. Based on these statistics, the inclusive and affirming environments nurtured by the teachers, staff, and administration at Oregon Trail Elementary, and likely throughout North Clackamas School District, along with their efforts to stop the bullying of LGBTQ students, are saving lives. Thank you to those teachers and all those who support them.
Next, I see Desi Nicodemus.
Good evening, Chair Ford, board members. Desi Nicodemus, former teacher, married to a current teacher of NCSD, and most importantly, a parent of a student in NCSD. And we all live in Milwaukee. Good evening, NCSD board and Superintendent James. I'm here to share my thoughts about the last board meeting. I heard a lot of hate-filled rhetoric aimed at this board and NCSD teachers. I also heard that there are a lot of parents that are passionate about their children, which I can get behind. We should utilize that. However, learning about slavery and systemic racism does not mean children are taught to feel bad about being white. No child or adult alive in this room is responsible for slavery, but we are all responsible for what happens next in our history. We cannot change the past. However, we cannot pretend like it didn't happen. We cannot act like systemic racism didn't have significant consequences that still exist to this day. This is why we teach history, to learn about systems that put up barriers for our own marginalized communities. When a teacher affirms a child's racial identity, cultural identity, and gender identity, what they are doing is letting that child know, I see you, I know you exist, and you belong. I'm urging people to stop creating issues that do not exist. To protect the credibility of the teaching profession, it is important for people to research the issues and learn from multiple verified sources, not just social media and not your immediate friend group. I will finish with this. Based on some of what was said last week, some folks wouldn't have me or my family over for dinner. I want everyone to remember our kids learn together, play together, form friendships with each other. We shop at the same stores. We eat at the same restaurants. We are in community together. We need to use the passion we have for our kids and teach them that hate in any form is not okay. Thank you, board. Thank you, Superintendent James. And thank you to all the hardworking educators that have been doing this for the past 2.5 years. Thank you.
Angie Bartlett. Please state your name and city.
Hi, my name is Angie Bartlett and I live in Damascus. And I'm here for the voice of the teachers that are afraid to speak out and with parents and children also. So I'm that voice. I don't have children in the school district currently, did have, and didn't have the issues that we're having today. So I'm here to speak, be their voice. And greeting, thank you for letting me be here. Since the beginning of the alleged emergency, we have witnessed the erosion of education throughout the school districts of this once beautiful and prosperous state. The years of education in a child's life are the most pivotal and important moments that they will ever experience. Sadly, these moments and experiences are being held captive by a face covering. What should be a positive experience has become a devoid by the through policies of guidelines that have no actual lawful merit or stature. It is a fact that all entities and or organizations operating in commerce or accepting policy funding that have acquired a master business license to operate must have policies to serve as guidelines. Excuse me. However, it is a paramount touchstone that all published policies must be in agreement with the residing state and federal laws, as well as the state and federal constitution. And if a particular policy is in disagreement with any state and or federal law or state and federal constitution, such would be constitute a breach of public trust, and the trustees should be in violation and injure the beneficiaries of the public trust. We, the people, require that you provide the citation of the Oregon Revised Statute and or federal laws that obligates any or all students to wear a face covering in an education facility. We, the people, require that you provide the citation of the Oregon Revised Statute or federal laws that give local policy jurisdiction to supersede 18 U.S. Code 241, conspiracy against rights, and 18 U.S. Code 242, deprivation of rights under the color of law. We, the people, require that you provide the results of any scientifically verifiable controlled study that proves beyond the shadow of a reasonable doubt that mask and or facial coverings reduce or prohibit the transmission of microbial particles. We, the people, require that you provide the results of a postulate test, a double-blind placebo test, or a test by the Dauber and Fry standards that show the COVID-19 has an identified isolate in existence, thus validating the cause to implement a state and nationwide health emergency. If this board and boards alike fail to disclose or refuse to present the requested proof, then be advised for the record that people present hereby accept the board's dishonor, which will be duly noted and could be used in prosecutorial action against those that are vested in these takeover rights of our children. And I just want to, how much time do I have left? 9 minutes. And this all goes with also.
You have 8
9
seconds.
Yeah, seconds, thank you. And that goes with the vaccinations as well that are required through our volunteers. These laws apply to that as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, I have Angela Peterson, please.
Good evening. My name is Angela Peterson. I reside in Oregon City, which is within the North Clackamas School District boundaries. I am here tonight because I want to acknowledge and thank all of the teachers in our district who respect and nurture all of their students, regardless of their skin color, their gender identity, their sexual preference, their religion, their socioeconomic status, academic abilities, learning styles, COVID shot status, or their families' beliefs or political leanings. I want to thank the teachers who continue to strive for academic excellence and equity and equality for all students. Equality. I want to thank the teachers who question, resist, or oppose aspects of the curriculum or district policies or trainings that they find inappropriate, harmful, or divisive. We know that many of you feel silenced, you teachers in our district, and fear retribution for having different views than those held by the district. We see you, we hear you, we support you. The teachers union has made their motives quite clear, and they do not have children's best interests in mind, as their motives are 100% political. For example, the NEA, which is the largest teachers union in the country, vowed to fight back against anybody opposed to critical race theory or the controversial 1619 project, which, by the way, is not, nobody's opposed to teaching history. Nobody is opposed to learning about the awful, horrendous history of slavery in this country whatsoever. The teachers union has also been pushing CSE, or comprehensive sexual education, which most teachers are found to not feel comfortable with because it is sexualizing children. America's teachers are being bullied and silenced by the teachers union. We would like to encourage teachers to cancel their membership with the union. There are alternative labor unions such as Northwest Professional Educators and the Association of American Educators. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have Doug Bridge. Oh, that's an interesting noise. That's the wake up sound.
You don't want to hear from me, do you? Just set it for 30. We're good. My name is Doug Bridge. I live in Portland. I am a teacher here at Happy Valley Middle School. And I also am a very proud member of our union and a proud member of our executive committee. I just wanted to come here tonight to say thank you to all of you. Everybody sitting up in front of me, you are in a position where you are balancing needs of so many different constituencies. But what I have found in my 16 years in this district is that, as many of you have turned over the years, is the board is always consistently putting the students first. And I really appreciate that from all of you. I moved here 16 years ago. Don't listen to this, Dr. James, because my commute to Beaverton was killing me. It was an hour a day. I wanted to be closer. But as I got into this district, I found this great group of people who know how to communicate, who know how to bargain. I've been through 6 or 7 rounds of bargaining with many of you in this room. And what I have really come to appreciate and love about our district is how we can demonstrate civil discourse as a community of professionals and adults with varying opinions. Joel, you should have given me everything I wanted in bargaining those past years. I just wanted to say that. And I've just found incredible respect. So again, I just want to thank everybody here. I do want to mention, since it's been put into this room, that as a, 30-year member of a teachers union, I have never once pushed nor silenced anybody. I have worked on the best behalf and interest of the children and my colleagues. And I am happy to have a one-on-one conversation when anyone wants to talk to me about how the union has pushed anything. That's not my job. That's not my role. It's to fight for the best interest of the students and my colleagues. So again, thank you for your attention, the way you handle yourselves, and your interest in our kids. And most importantly, for your volunteer work. It's above and beyond. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Lisa Clark.
Thank you for allowing me to be present. My name is Lisa Clark Wilkins, and I live in Happy Valley, Oregon. And I am here today to as a pretty large stakeholder in in this school district. I was born here. I went to Linwood Elementary, Delicus Junior High. I was a student under Ben Schellenberg, one of the great first superintendents in our district. I am a retired elementary school teacher, spending 33 years in the Portland Public School District at one school. Did some teaching after my retirement in the North Clackamas School District from the ages of kindergarten through 12th grade. I have a husband who is a teacher and numerous family members who are teachers. And I'm most importantly right now a tax-paying citizen of this district. And I am just disgusted. I'm disgusted at the bottom of my heart with what I hear is happening in our classrooms in this district. And I know that there is a social media component to this, but I don't know that these things aren't true. No one's ever told me that they're not true. I don't see anyone on this board standing up and saying, no, we radically disagree with talking to young children about oral sex and the nature of oral sex, that we will radically deny the handing out of condoms to children in 5th grade on up. I don't hear anyone outside of certain parents that are very concerned denouncing this kind of thing. And I don't understand it. I can't wrap my head around what is going on in our classrooms today. I can't wrap my head around hearing that the whole premise of critical race theory is that America's founding was to propagate slavery in our country. That is the most false thing I have ever heard. I don't understand when teaching as a teacher, I know that teaching is science and it's art. And it seems as though we've gone all the way over to all the feeling part, and we're completely completely neglecting the science that is behind what we're teaching, and we're doing it based on political ideology. And that is not where I want my tax dollars going. I want it going to educate children in how to be successful people in my community. And it's not happening. So I ask you to take these things under consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheryl Meyer.
Good evening, Chair Ford, Vice Chair Bauer, members of the board. Good to see you, Dr. James. My name is Cheryl Myers. I reside in Portland. I'm not here in my official capacity as a Deputy Secretary of State, but rather as a private citizen. I've always been an advocate for public education. And when our children became of school age, we actually did a lot of research and moved to North Clackamas on purpose, as many, many families have, based on your excellent reputation. And I have to say, we were not disappointed. In fact, we were thrilled and overjoyed. And we're very proud of our 2 North Clackamas graduates. Of the 18 years that we did live within the district, I am honored to have served 8 years of that time on this school board. And I'm here tonight to just express my gratitude and support for your efforts. The past 2 years have been fraught with incredible challenges, and how you have stayed strong and steady and steadfast despite so many unknown, uncharted waters is just so admirable. But after watching last month's board meeting, I felt very compelled to come tonight just to applaud your support of all students and to urge you to stay strong despite voices of dissent. Voices of dissent are not new, and they will come again, and they will ebb and flow. When I was sworn in as a school board member, The meeting was not at the district office where it usually was. It was at Round Middle School to accommodate a very large crowd of people who wanted to ban books. They weren't banned. But I was just heartbroken and disappointed when I was listening to some of the community voices at the last board meeting that made very harmful and very hurtful comments. We're in the 21st century. I hope that we continue to evolve as human beings, how we care for each other, how we are kind to each other. I hope that that is an element, not the only element, but an element of what our students are hearing. And that it's being modeled by the adults and role models in their world. Your work is of utmost importance. Your decisions will have far-reaching impact on students and community for decades to come. Your commitment to inclusion has never been more important than it is today. So thank you, and continue to follow your hearts and keep this district one of the premier districts in the state and even in the nation. You selflessly volunteer your time to consider the needs of all students. Thank you for your service, your patience, your dedication to students and community during these challenging times. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Erica Lockwood.
Thank you. I'm Erica Lockwood. I live in Milwaukee and I teach at Rex Putnam High School. Thank you to the board, also a proud union member, and I thank you for all that you do. I have taught music in North Clackamas School District for 19 years, currently directing the Rex Putnam High School choirs. I am also the president-elect of the Oregon Music Education Association. For decades, our district has had a strong music program. From the elementary curriculum through all of our performing arts ensembles at the secondary level, this district has maintained a reputation for prioritizing music at every school and level. This value is the reason that I moved my family to this district, and I know that is the case for many families in our community. I am here today because we as music educators are worried about our ability to maintain these programs. Class numbers have decreased over the past 2 years due to the lack of exposure and opportunities during the pandemic. At this time, it is crucial that the district renews its commitment to music as a core subject, one that enhances social emotional learning and correlates with increased attendance rates, among many other benefits that should be fully accessible to every student. In order to build and maintain a cohesive music program district-wide, we believe that North Clackamas needs a music administrator at the district level. A music administrator will help with staffing, alignment of courses, and the implementation of state and national standards across every level. A music administrator would save valuable time for building principals by conducting teacher evaluations and hiring music faculty. A music administrator would ensure that highly qualified music educators are teaching within their area of specialty to the greatest extent possible. This person should be included in discussions around credit requirements and scheduling at each level to ensure that all students have access to performing arts classes, including and especially those in our dual language programs and special ed. A music administrator would increase teacher retention, professional development, and equity for music programs across the district. Currently, the structure of course requirements, staffing restrictions, and the lack of access for students at the secondary level are causing our programs to dwindle across the district. If music education truly is still a priority for North Clackamas, the implementation of an experienced, qualified music administrator, even on a part-time assignment, would help to ensure the continuation of these programs, which have taken a big hit during the pandemic. Our goal is to expand access and inclusion for all students, to be innovative and culturally responsive in our practice, and to continue to inspire musicians who bring positive change to our community. Thank you for your support.
I can't read the last name. First name is Wanda. Sorry.
I'm a sloppy writer.
So am I. Welcome to the tribe. State your name and city, please.
Wanda Shell, and I'm with in Happy Valley. So I just want to say I'm really excited that the kids, my son goes to Clackamas High School, and that they're getting an opportunity to go to the prom. They got to go to one that was kind of a private one, but this one's put on by the school. I don't know much about it, as far as like who's organizing it and, if there's a student staff doing the decorations and all of that. But one thing I was impressed about was that they sent out text reminders and emails so that the kids get on this list to go into the event. And I'm hopeful, I'm a little concerned about those that maybe are not aware of doing that, that you guys will, or the school will let them show their school IDs like they normally do to attend like a football game or something like that, that they won't be turned away. It could be for many reasons, like maybe the parents didn't communicate it with them or whatever it is. But it made me think about our meetings here and how it's kind of difficult to know when we're having the meetings and when we're doing that. And so I just wanted to present or suggest that we get emails or text reminders for these meetings. I think somebody mentioned many years ago that the meetings were at like a gym. So maybe a bigger event, more parents coming to things, more transparency of feeling that we're included in everything. Sorry, I've got a couple notes. I wasn't really planning on talking, but I was like, gosh, I keep getting these text reminders. And so I just kind of thought it was a good thing to bring up. One thing I wanted to say too is the kids, there's some freshmen that's in my son's class. He's a senior, and they're really struggling in school. I think because they haven't had a lot of structure in the last couple of years. So it's just something to keep in mind and to make sure that these kids get structure, know they have to turn things in. Like he's kind of encouraged them like, hey, you can do this. You just have to, take one step at a time. So I just wanted to bring that up because I know it's really a struggle for the new freshmen in the school that haven't been in school, and it's a big school going from Happy Valley Middle School or any of our middle schools around the area. So it can be very intimidating, and hopefully the teachers are taking that into consideration. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Angeline Hill.
Hi, I'm Angeline Hill. I'm from Happy Valley. Hopefully this will be the most bipartisan issue ever because it's about literacy and we're all in education. So a few facts just to start us off. There's a huge difference between leveled literacy or balanced literacy and structured literacy. Dyslexia is not reading letters backwards. If you didn't know, you're in the majority of the folks in our country. I didn't know these things either. And as a parent of a student with dyslexia, I've begun to educate myself the best that I can. I'm here today to continue a conversation in our schools about supporting our teachers and our students and the need for explicit instruction in our classroom at all grade levels. We have significant gaps in our current reading programs, and the literacy tools that we provide our classrooms with are inadequate, which leads to teachers purchasing out of pocket for the equipment that they need in their classrooms. While balanced literacy may work for some, structured literacy works for all. 1 in 5 students in our classrooms have dyslexia. And for some of these students, it may be so slight that we think, oh, just give it time. He doesn't like reading, or she just needs to try harder. The truth is that students with dyslexia and those even with a slight delay in reading deserve instruction in a way they can understand. A recent study over 3 years showed that students who received structured literacy measurably outperformed their balanced literacy peers at every level, including fluency and comprehension. Everyone deserves to learn to read. Everyone deserves to feel as smart as they truly are, and everyone deserves the science of reading. I am asking our district to purchase literacy programs based on science. I would like to see decodable text in every classroom, not just K through 2. Teacher education on the science of reading should be during contracted hours and not on their own time. I want to see teachers with specialized training in dyslexia in every school that has been missing from my son's school since 2019. Like all of our amazing teachers, I'm just a mom, but I really want every student and every child to have the chance not just to learn to read, but to believe in themselves and their amazing abilities. The stakes are high. As individuals on this board, I ask that you please research this topic. Please talk to our teachers about the science of reading and what they need in their classrooms to help our students be successful. It is not easy to sit on our school board, as we have seen, and I appreciate you for listening. I completely respect that this is not a topic that many people bring up. It's not the hottest topic, like masks or vaccines or anything else, but it is critically important. It's not just one thing we need to do well, but rather is the foundation for everything else our children will do in their lives. Thank you for listening.
Crystal Gaskin. Did I say that correctly?
Nailed it.
No, good.
You even said it, we say it, but not how it's spelled, so you killed it. Thank you everyone for being here. My name is Crystal Gaskin. I live in Malala and I'm a North Clackamas teacher and a proud member of our union. I am presenting a letter on behalf of a colleague in the district who felt uncomfortable and afraid to share it themselves. As a teacher and a member of the district, I feel it is not only important to support our students unconditionally, but our staff as well. So here's the letter from them. Thank you so much to the board, superintendent, admin, and our community for allowing me to share tonight. Thank you to our union for giving us the space to share, even when it feels really scary. I'm a health and wellness teacher in an elementary school in our district. I take pride in my job and absolutely love the fact that I'm able to see every student in our building weekly as a specialist. I work with students of various backgrounds and collaborate with the other teachers in our building regularly. I go to great lengths to ensure that every student feels safe and heard within the walls of my classroom and throughout our entire school. I listened to the last school board meeting public comment and was both angry and also quite frankly sad. You see, I am teaching our district health and wellness curriculum, and some of the things that I heard at the meeting are simply untrue. I would love to clear the air, so to speak, and share the truth. I teach the curriculum to a T. I allow myself no autonomy as a teacher when it comes to this curriculum. The past 2 weeks, I have taught what we call CSEP lessons, or Comprehensive Sex Ed program, to our K-5 students as dictated by the district's curriculum map. The lessons are a combination of pre-recorded videos and/or particular lessons with GLSEN. During these lessons, I have gone so far as to read the teacher guide word for word as a way to protect myself and also guarantee that I am teaching in accordance with Oregon state standards. I have even had colleagues offer to sit in my classes to provide an extra level of accountability due to the current climate in our district. I would like to share that in all grades except first and third grade, during the week of April 11th to the 15th, the videos that were shown taught anatomically correct body part names, and the video discussed in age-appropriate ways. Safe and unsafe touches and consent. That's what the videos are about. The following week in K through 5, each grade had a lesson on gender identity and/or stereotyping. In both of these weeks, parents were given the option to opt their child out, and parents also had a chance to view the materials with their health and wellness teacher ahead of time during conferences if they desired. I have also made myself available to view the content during any time that works for both the guardian and myself. The gender identity and stereotype lessons are posted publicly to view as well. In fact, the district's health and wellness website provides a level of transparency not seen in other districts. While I understand, thank you. While I understand that there is a political agenda behind the current outrage of health being taught in schools, I can assure you that our district provides transparency. It is important to share the truth so that our community is not provided a one-sided explanation. Thank you.
So I want to say thank you for everyone for presenting this evening. We also received some emails. We received emails in support of our online program. We received 11 emails regarding Alder Creek. We received 2 emails regarding Oregon Trail, and we received 3 emails regarding board support. Community comment is a time for you to come and speak, and we appreciate you showing up and spending your time here. And now we will move to the business of the district. So first thing on our agenda is the Asian and Pacific Islander American Heritage Month proclamation. And just to set the tone, unfortunately, one of our board members could not be here. And so I'm going to read in proxy a note from Director Way. Dear fellow board members and community, although I cannot be there this evening, have a nice evening. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. Dear fellow board members and community, though I cannot be there this evening, I wanted to share my gratitude for the resolution to celebrate May as Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month in the North Clackamas School District. Asian and Pacific Islander community members have made tremendous contributions to our state, our nation, and in our very own school district as dedicated teachers, social workers, bus drivers, civic and community leaders, but their stories of achievement are at times tainted with experiences of racism, discrimination, and invisibility. I am inspired by heroes like, I didn't read this first, Minori Yasui, if I said that incorrectly, please someone correct me, who was born in Hood River, Oregon during the time where Japanese Americans were forcibly removed and imprisoned during World War II. He spoke out against the injustice and committed his life to defending human and civil rights for all. Or Grace Lee Boggs, a Chinese American author and feminist who was one of the organizers of the Asian American movement and worked tirelessly with Black and Brown communities to advocate for workers' rights. Last year, we heard staff at Seth Llewellyn Elementary about Ah Bing, a Chinese laborer who worked at the Llewellyn Family Orchards in Milwaukee, Oregon, and was best known for cultivating one of Oregon's most famous cherries, the Bing cherry. Due to anti-Chinese sentiments during the time and the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882, Ah Bing was barred from coming back to the United States. Minori Grace and Ah Bing left extraordinary legacies in their lifetimes and today. Our students and community have the opportunity to celebrate and learn from these past leaders as we celebrate Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Also know this, that Asian and Pacific Islander leaders still exist out there today, whether they are students, educators, parents, or family members. Our stories and life experiences carry power, and collectively, we can positively influence this world. With that being said, I'd like to start by reading the proclamation, and then we will put a motion on the floor.
We should start. First, I'd like to frame by saying I'm an incredibly proud parent of my wife and I adopted our daughter from China 9 years ago, and my life has not been the same. It's our first daughter, of course, but I have 3 older boys, but having my daughter in my life has positively impacted me so deeply. It is wonderful to be called Baba, and so when I read this with pride. Title is Asian and Pacific Islander American Heritage Month. Whereas Asian and Pacific Island Americans have lived and worked in Oregon for more than 200 years, contributing to the state's rich history, economy, and culture. And whereas Asian and Pacific Islander Americans have helped advance our communities' prosperity through their contributions to all fields of education, business, the arts, economic development, science, and technology, and
whereas Asian and Pacific Islander American history is marked by a struggle for freedom, equality, and justice, prevailing over the adversity of exclusion, persecution, incarceration, and disparities. And whereas the vibrant history and diverse cultures of Oregon's Asian and Pacific Islander Americans are here to be honored as a central part of our state's history and shared across all Oregon communities. And
whereas the month of May is nationally recognized as a time to celebrate contributions of Asian and Pacific Islander Americans to our society and collective history. Therefore, the North Clackamas School Board hereby proclaims May 2022 to be Asian Pacific American Islander Heritage Month in North Clackamas School District.
I will now open the floor for a motion.
Director Schradel, move approval of the Asian and Pacific Islander American Heritage Month for May 2022.
And properly moved. Do I have a second?
Director Benaloga, second.
Excellent. Donna, you're good with that? Any discussion, further discussion? Anything else? No?
Well, what I would say is it's very important that we always recognize this every year. And it's not just that we read it, but we actually truly understand it and how it positively affects outcomes for future leaders. It's imperative in the classroom from the board down through the administration to the classroom so that our students, your children, hear this and know they're valued, they belong. And so thank you for recognizing this. And it is important that we always do this work.
Yes, thank you, Chair Ford. It is important that we value everyone in our community. And just to give you a little bit of history, in 2019, there were 22.9 million people of Asian and Pacific Islander descent in the United States, which is about 7% of the population. It's the fastest growing race in the country. And they've made great impacts, not just in Oregon, but across the country. In 1979, it was Asian Pacific Islander Week. And then in 1990, it became a month where we really get a chance to honor and learn about those cultures. I think we need to remember that, and Director Way already said it so beautifully, all the contributions that so much of our Asian and Pacific Islander communities have had on the impact that they've had. But we need to remember that they've been faced with tremendous adversity and discrimination, and it's only been amplified during the pandemic. So, and the 2022 theme of Asian Pacific Islander Month is advancing leadership through collaboration. And I think that's something that we do well in North Clackamas. And I think that this proclamation is just another way that we honor and we stand with our Asian and Pacific Islander community. And I thank you.
I just want to thank my fellow board members for your input and well stated. I'm excited and support this fully. Thank you.
Well, I'll close by saying it is so important that we celebrate the richness of all of us. And when we make proclamations, it's an opportunity for us to make a clear statement of that celebration. And in that, we also are recognizing how difficult it was for individuals, in particular, our Asian and Pacific Islander brothers and sisters, to be and to exist and to be seen. And so a proclamation says that we see you. We see you. We believe in all that you stand for. And we are you, because this is American history. So super excited to be behind this. So with that being said, all in favor, please say aye.
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 I'm also an aye. Adopted this 28th day of April 2022, and I will happily sign this. Okay, so next on our list is our License Appreciation Week. Licensed Staff Appreciation Week. And Director Benaloga, you want to start us off?
Whereas licensed staff, including teachers, counselors, and social workers, nurses, psychologists, instructional coaches, media specialists, therapists, and speech pathologists are vital to the education of students and who continually strive to promote high expectations, cultural understanding, to prepare graduates who are inspired and empowered to strengthen the quality of life in our local and global communities. And
whereas licensed staff are professional and advance the well-being, academic success, and lifelong achievement of all students. And
whereas licensed staff continually strive for improvement and progress in education and the understanding of the need for commitment to excellence in the district school system. And
I'll read it once we vote. So I'll open the floor for a motion. Yeah, I'm gonna do it after we vote. Yeah.
okay, got it.
I love, I have so many people keeping me on track. It's like, it's impossible to do things wrong, and I love them for that. Open the floor for a motion, please.
Director Ford, I move that we support superintendent's recommendation that the board adopt the proclamation recognizing licensed staff for their contributions to the district by declaring May 2nd through 6th, 2022 as the Licensed Staff Appreciation Week in North Clackamas School District.
Been properly moved. Do I have a second?
Bauer, second.
You good, Donna? Excellent. Any discussion?
I just wanted to make a few comments that our children are through the school system, and I'm just so grateful for the education they had. And I think back to, I think almost all of us can think of a teacher, staff member that changed our lives, changed my life, stepped up and made that difference, took that time. And I saw that over and over with our kids in North Clackamas. So I'm so grateful. And especially at this time when I know teachers, I know it's my mic, that my, that teachers have just had so much. You've had to pivot quickly. You were challenged in so many ways, and the mental health of everyone, our students and our staff and our communities and our families. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. You are making a difference. And I can't, begin to say enough thank you to all of you. I just have so much respect. I don't want to end on a negative, but there was an Ed Week article that came out, and it is alarming. It said that 4 out of 10 teachers are thinking of leaving the field in the next 2 years. So we need to take care. We need to all support them. So thank you.
Yes, thank you, Chair Ford. I want to echo those sentiments as well, and also just remind our community. We've asked a lot of our community. We've asked a lot of our parents, but we've asked a lot of our staff as well, a lot of our teachers. And they've shouldered so much in those buildings and really taken care of our kids and tried to take care of their own family and try to uphold everything that the district holds so dear. So why so many of us moved here to raise our children and to educate our kids. So we thank you. There's been some heartfelt thanks to the board tonight, but honestly, we're here for you. We're here for you. We're here for our students. We uphold the teachers that are there. Just thank you so much for everything that you've done, for the sleepless nights, for the countless hours, and for the love and care you have for our kids. And just thank this community for everything that they've done, all the support that our teachers are hopefully feeling and hearing tonight. It's so important that we remember that we really are a community. If we treat each other that way, if we remember it and really lead with our hearts every day, we're all here for the same reason. But we thank you and we honor you.
Licensed staff, I can't say how much you've impacted my life through education, my children's life, everything from gen ed to special education. You've made it so that I've had opportunities and my children have all had opportunities. And I just can't say thank you enough.
Well, sometimes thank you doesn't seem big enough. And that's how I feel right now. It's just not, it's not broad enough. It's not expansive enough for the amount of gratitude that we feel for our licensed staff. I think a lot of times in this very difficult transition of pandemic to, I don't even know what we're calling this right now. It's like, no one's really ended the pandemic, right? So I don't know where we are, but this process, there's been a lot of assumptions made about the licensed staff, how it works, what it means. And one assumption is that every child's going home to a safe and secure home. And many times children only have licensed staff as their safety and their security. And you guys hold that dear. And there's a famous quote that I love, and that is, it takes one caring adult to make a successful child, just one. And in this school district, they have several. And so for that, we absolutely thank you. So with that being said, all in favor, say aye.
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 I'm also an aye. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the North Clackamas School District Board of Directors proclaims May 2nd through the 6th, 2022, as Licensed Staff Appreciation Week in North Clackamas School District, adopted this 28th day of April 2022, and I will proudly sign that also. Thank you. Moving right along, we got North Clackamas Education Association Featured Educator. Yay. Even though you guys are on the agenda now, you came up so many times, I don't even know. It's like, welcome.
Good evening, board. You have no idea how happy I am to sit here next to Heather Gomez, who's a 5th grade teacher at Oregon Trail Elementary. As a friend and as a past team partner with her, I get to introduce her as NCEA's featured educator this month. Her current colleagues at Oregon Trail Elementary, who are in the room with us, nominated her, and these are some of the words they had to say about Heather's work. I've had the great opportunity to work with Heather Gomez over the past 6 years in a number of capacities, as a union representative, as a 4th grade colleague, and as a friend. Heather holds her students and colleagues to high standards. As a union rep, I was always surprised by the passion and the fervor she had for the job. She has a clear understanding of what it means to fight for justice and is a constant upstander. As her 4th grade colleague during CDL, I was amazed at how organized she was. At the beginning of that year, she did not have a Bitmoji account. What? But by the end, she was putting her Bitmoji into everything. Her year-long planning is bar none. She's constantly thinking about how to improve her students' understanding. She attacks lessons with an eye at growing the mindset of her students. And what I love about Heather is that she never backs down and demonstrates commitment to this practice in a way that is rarely seen. We at Oregon Trail Elementary know she sets the bar high and truly embraces the North Clackamas motto as she prepares students who are inspired and empowered to strengthen the quality of life in our local and global communities. Sometimes moving a group means moving it one pebble at a time, and Heather Gomez has shown time and again that she has a stamina to keep it moving. I'm thankful that Heather gets an opportunity to shine because she truly deserves it. And if you don't believe those folks, ask the kids, because they say things like, Mrs. Gomez is an amazing teacher. I think she deserves this award very much. She works hard to teach us so many things. She's kind, but most importantly, she is caring. Mrs. Gomez is super nice and makes learning fun. Mrs. Gomez is the best teacher. She's great at explaining things in a way that everyone understands. Heather's a fierce advocate for education, specifically an education that is for all students. Heather works tirelessly to create lessons and activities to help all students thrive in their learning. She's a team player who's willing to take charge or lend a helping hand. She embodies everything that is good about education and is a joy and honor to work alongside. Congratulations. I might have a few words.
I think I might. First, I wish the lady was here so I could say as a 5th grade teacher this year, we are not handing out condoms in class. First, if it's all right, I'd like to mention that I am pretty nervous about speaking this evening, and I've practically come straight here from the Multnomah County Courthouse, where I've been given the pleasure of serving on a jury this week. So please forgive me for relying more on my written words and less on my exhausted brain, and I know I'm going to be emotional. And I can't start now. I want to thank Gretchen and NCEA for nominating and selecting me. This is an honor. Thank you to the board for allowing me time to share a bit of my experiences with all of you. This year, a teacher needed to move from 4th to 5th grade to make classes balance out in our building. I was lucky enough to win the spin of the wheel, and nearly all of the students in our current class were a part of my CDL or hybrid classes last year. I must say that I treasure this group of students and families. After, quote, being in our homes last year, I feel that we know each other on a different level. It's special and hopefully only a once in a lifetime opportunity that we will not need to experience again. When the students heard that I'd been awarded this honor, they let me know that I should probably thank them. I think they believe this is like the Oscars. So to my fabulous 5th graders, I thank you. I literally would not have this award without you. As an elementary classroom teacher, being recognized is humbling. I wish I was at this table with a bunch of other folks. There are so many of my peers that positively impact each student and staff member of the Oregon Trail community. They make the job I do much better. I look up to them. They make me look good. If it's all right, I'd like to brag a bit about our staff. Teresa Just and Jamila Bird are our learning specialists. What is asked of them is impossible. They work with students at every grade level, support teachers, and find time for everyone's questions or needs. In the resource room, their plan is to work with students in small groups or individually on social and academic goals. However, every day a schedule changes that impacts their day. A student is having a moment and needs their additional support. A parent requests an evaluation of their child. The list goes on. They run meetings, write huge reports, wrangle data from classroom teachers, and still they smile at us in the hallway. I don't know how they do it. Linda Lim, our school psychologist, is a problem solver. She's positive and clear in her communication. She encourages us with her words. I call her my cheerleader. Her knowledge is deep, and we absolutely admire how she makes classroom teachers feel a part of her team. Ashley Atami and Joanne Klauser lead the SLCA classrooms at Oregon Trail. They amaze. The care and commitment that they have for their students is inspiring. After years of SLCA teachers that would leave our building after just 1 year, hard to not take personally, the fact that Ashley and Joanne return every fall strengthens our community. I do not believe that they get enough recognition, and I want them to know that they're noticed and so very deeply appreciated. Gianna Bargetto, our amazing counselor, is someone we wouldn't be able to live without. There are students who cannot, I stress, cannot make it through a school day without her. Some just need to know that she's there at school. Some need to check in with her once in the day to make it through. Coming back from the pandemic this year, Gianna has to be our most needed and used resource. Somehow she meets the student body's needs at whatever level they require: classroom lessons, small group, individual check-ins, working with students to de-escalate a friendship situation when it arises. As a staff member, I also know I can go to Gianna with a student situation, and she will collaborate with me to problem solve options. Thank you, Gianna, for being so accessible to our students, staff, and families. Jenny Clifford and Allison Hansel are our ELD specialists. They are passionate about the work that they do, and they're well aware of the needs of their students. The fact that they work with their kids from year to year means that they have history and relationships with the families that are invaluable. They're always rooting for their students and will do anything they can for them. There are numerous teacher leaders on staff at Oregon Trail who step up to mentor early career educators or university teacher candidates, lead committees, lead professional development, coordinate state testing, pilot curriculum, and make events happen for our school. Keep in mind, these people do not have time for this.
They make time, giving up their personal life in order for Oregon Trail to grow and be the best we can for our students. These are just some of the NCEA members that make a difference daily for our kids. They create opportunities for student success. Again, they allow and inspire me to be the best I can for my students. What I do is just a part of that larger team. With this award, I've been encouraged to share challenges and joys of elementary school teaching nowadays. Let's start with the challenges. Here's what I'm calling the April list. This is everything I could think of that came at me as a classroom teacher this month, just outside of just planning and teaching. Report cards, state testing, staff trainings, 504 IEP meetings, always on a Friday for Gomez. Science lessons to collaborate with a partner you have no prep time to collaborate with, student and staff anxiety, celebrations, lunch menu changes, again tomorrow. Jogathon, student and staff illnesses, student family vacations, prepping for substitutes, supporting other teacher substitutes, missing prep time because there's not enough substitutes, committee meetings, assemblies, 5th grade promotion planning, fire drill, spirit days, parent phone calls, MTSS meeting, grade level meetings, staff meetings, student and staff recognition of volunteer secretary principal appreciation weeks, middle school forecasting, changes in COVID protocols, and keeping all of this organized. It's a challenge when you take great pride in this work and you're giving your best efforts, yet you're learning that you're not meeting all of your students' needs. This creates sleepless nights. Student anxiety returning from the pandemic has been a new challenge, and it's very real. I don't think that classroom teachers are prepared to support our students in this enough. Students not used to being students, that's been mentioned a few times tonight. Returning to the classroom has led to some interesting challenges. Lack of time to prepare. For me, this is compounded by teaching a new grade, as well as needing to simultaneously teach in person and post lessons in Google Classroom. I feel like I'm still prepping for hybrid, but also teaching full-time in person. Also, every elementary teacher knows that 30 minutes of prep time is not 30 minutes of prep, as we must escort students to and from their specials. Meetings mean no prep time that day. That's a challenge. When you know you have students that are so sad, worried, or depressed, and you want to help them feel safe. I'm a mom and I'm a teacher, but I'm not trained for that. There's only one Miss B to go around. Although she's full-time, yay, the need still outweighs her availability. For the last couple of years, it's been a challenge to hear calls from the district office for do what you can and take care of yourselves. Yet staff and students are still presented with expectations of pre-pandemic core and all the work, anxiety, and stress that comes with that. Seeing and hearing of our students be bullied and harassed based on their race, gender, or sexual orientation is so very difficult. We care about every student, every single one. And working through these things with our kids is a definite challenge given the political climate right now. But this life that I've lived for the last 26 years is also one filled with joys. It is a joy to really know my students this year after being in their homes during CDL and looping to the next grade with them. I absolutely love learning with my students. This is what makes my day fun. It's a joy when students find success, the best. Playing kickball at recess on a sunny day, dancing with the students at a brain break. When a student is in front of the classroom, leading them through their thinking, literally teaching their peers, I am so proud. Seeing a student walk a classmate over to a class record or anchor chart and referring to it as they make their case for their solution or to help their peer understand, it's a joy to see that the time spent was worth it. When a student trusts you enough to share important needs they have, like they want to change their pronouns, the excitement in a 4th grader's eyes when they whispered to me that last weekend they bought their first dress, a red one. It's a joy to find that PLC team that just clicks. When there's collaboration, respect, and common philosophy, it's a beautiful thing. And students benefit from that. And finally, a joy I had last week was like that note left for me on my teacher table. I come back from the buses and I open it up and says, Mrs. Gomez, thanks for being there for me. This list would have looked quite different 26 years ago. I have grown so much. Teaching has changed so much. I want to say that this career is still rewarding. However, it has become so very, very hard. As a veteran teacher, I feel safe in this space to say just how hard it is. What a week. Tuesday's jury duty turned into a 3-day commitment. But it was just another moment in my career where I was given pause. As I was making sub-plans late into Tuesday night, emotions overwhelmed me at having to be away from my students. Every class, every year seems to grow to be like a family to me. I was sad I was going to miss their excitement and performance with a visit from the cast members of Hamilton yesterday. I'm still not happy. I was lamenting that I would miss their reaction to the new unit they'd begun on how to calculate volume this week. I was worried about my students that worry all the time. I didn't want to miss these moments. I wanted to be there for them. As teachers, we get caught up in the day-to-day, you know, that list of challenges and joys, the assessments that need to be completed for report card marks, all of the events on the calendar. I forgot to do lunch count again. The parent newsletters and returning emails and parent square messages, getting to recess on time. Did I post that lesson on Google Classroom? Who still needs to return their late library book? Remembering to talk about that to that student about that thing before I forget. But in the end, as I've heard countless educators say, it's about relationships. I am thankful for the relationships I've built over the years in North Clackamas. I cannot thank enough those who support me each day in my quest to do right by my students, especially my family. Board, thank you for all you do to support the students of North Clackamas, and thanks for giving me a chance to share tonight.
So before you go, we have a camera and I want to do something a little different. I'd love for you to stand up here and us stand behind you as a literal and figurative statement that we stand behind you and all of Oregon Trail. So if you can come up here, we'll get that great picture. Excellent, thank you. Next on our agenda is our school presentations. Sojourner is our school. You guys have been so patient. I see you online, and we have Kalia Williams Rodriguez in front of us. I'll turn it over to you.
Good evening. Happy Thursday. It is my pleasure to the school board superintendent, Dr. Shay James, to present Sojourner Elementary School. And so Principal Shirtliff and Assistant Principal Case will be ready to share.
Good evening, board. We'll just take 1 second to transition. Good evening, board. On behalf of the Sojourner community and our staff, thank you for the opportunity to share about our school tonight. We are going to share with you just a little bit of what we are proud of and appreciate your time. I am Kelly Shirtliff, and I get the great honor of being the principal at Sojourner Elementary. We are a school that we consider a small school we teach 150 students each day through an emphasis on the multiple intelligences. As a school of choice for North Clackamas families, we enroll through a lottery system each spring. The lottery for the 22-23 school year was just held and included applications from about 215 families. While we serve all of the North Clackamas families and are an option available to all of them, approximately 89% of our students currently enrolled reside within the Milwaukee High School and Rex Putnam High School feeder system. Our school is unique in being part of a larger community and combined with Linwood Elementary School. So we actually are a shared campus, which makes us a small learning community within a larger learning community. Our community has consistently shared with us that our value on community and being able to be a team where we care and have students belong is important to us. And it shows in the results from our families last spring. We see from our students that they feel like they are a part of our school and they know that their teachers care about them. Our families know that their teachers care about them, and our staff feel that same care and sense of belonging when they work together to do the hard work that we've heard about a lot this evening. This year, we have tried to build upon this strength of community and connection and keeping it at our center in all of our work that we do. Tonight's presentation will highlight some of the ways that we've set out to do this year and where we'll go next. My colleague and Sojourner classroom teacher, Rachel Peck, is going to start us off.
Good evening. I'm Rachel Peck, and I teach intermediate grades 4 and 5 at Sojourner. The mission of our school is to recognize and develop the multiple intelligences of our students from varied backgrounds to their fullest intellectual, social, and emotional potential. This mission drives all that we do at Sojourner. As a magnet school option for more than 20 years in North Clackamas, we continue to evolve while remaining committed to the growth of each child's multiple intelligences. The following slides will speak to some of our beliefs and actions that bring our mission to life. We believe it's important for students to make choices about their learning and to know that their voices are valued. So what does this look like on a daily basis in our classrooms? Well, today, for example, if you walked into an intermediate classroom, behind me you can see proof of this, you would have witnessed students presenting project presentations. Twice a year, each student in our school presents learning about a topic of their choice. This is an exciting time in which our community comes to learn together about topics of interest. It sparks curiosity about the world, and it helps students develop researching and speaking skills. In all academic areas, students are actively involved in making meaning of their learning. You'll notice a whole lot of turning and talking to partners, collaborating as students practice habits of mind and interaction in the classroom. They know their voices matter to their teachers and also the classmates in our community. We believe that relationships are built upon respect, empathy, and connection. All community members are affirmed, empowered, and inspired by multiple perspectives. And this belief really does, it plays out this year, as some people were mentioning tonight, as something that really does drive what we've been doing and all that we do every day. Relationships, as our last speaker, Heather, was mentioning, it's really at the core of what we do, especially after teaching kids online. We do have multiple grade levels, so we're teaching kids that we got to see last year, like you said, at home and with their families. Those relationships, when they're coming back, are really important. The whole family dynamic is also really important. We also this year have really worked hard to try to keep centered and connected, as Kelly said, and had to be creative with doing that in cohorts. But we found ways so that all students know all teachers. I know almost all the kids in the school by name and they me, so that by the time they come to 4th grade, it's really been a special time of me kind of having been watching them since kindergarten. So that's a special way that we can kind of relate. How are all students affirmed? We build on stories, we build on experiences, we have circle and community meetings regularly, and lots of learning activities together. Our adoption of Fountas and Pinnell has really brought a wealth of literature to our classrooms, and it's opened our eyes to new perspectives that inspire students to reflect, and connect, and value their roles in a global society. Now I'm going to hand it over to our Vice Principal, Brian Cates. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rachel. I'm excited to share with you a little bit about what we do to build community in our school. So at Sojourner, we believe that our community benefits when we share time, talents, and knowledge and skills with each other. Some of the ways we do that is, Ms. Peck alluded to this a little bit, but we have our multi-age classrooms. Our K-1 students are band together. We call them primary. We have our 2-3 grades band together. That's transitional. And as Ms. Peck said, we have 4-5. That's our intermediate. The benefits of this is our community is not centered on one grade level. They get to build community across 2 different grade levels, which we have seen, especially being a smaller school, benefit our class of being able to be not just with a classroom of say 25 kids, but closer to building community with upwards of 56 students. Another way we do community is we have an activity called opening. Every morning, our students start the day with either a physical activity in the gym or outside on the playground at our track, or they get to go into our cafeteria and do some music or dance or performances that include singing, acts from plays, magic at times. It's a great way that our students get to share their talents with each other and learn from each other about their expertise. Another way we get to do this is each day our kids rotate or get to, I should say, spend time in 30 to 60-minute content blocks led by multiple teachers. So they're not just with one classroom teacher throughout the day, they're with a couple different ones. And within that, again, it creates more opportunities for them to build community in different settings with different students. And again, we really value and appreciate those opportunities for our students to work together in different environments. And lastly, Ms. Peck also alluded to this a little bit about student voice. She talked about our presentations. You'll go into classrooms, you're going to see a lot of partner work. And those, again, are ways that we learn from each other and build community. There's oftentimes lots of share outs. And our class is very involved in creating our agenda items and help lead discussions, especially in the morning, about what's happening in the school, what they want to talk about, and potentially needs to problem solve things that are popping up. While some of these things are typical practice as a school, we've been really focused on how to reinvent that and sustain that through our COVID. And I just really want to applaud our staff, our team, on being flexible and creative when balancing the needs of student safety with still upholding those opportunities to build community and continue to have those activities. So thank you. Also, Ms. Shirtliff alluded to this, we're a dual campus. We have 2 schools on our campus. And so one of the cool things that we've done is just try to find ways to leverage that unique situation. So a couple of things that we've done is we've looked at our staff and had some combined learning experiences with professional development. This year, we've done a lot of work with both staffs at both schools around equity, literacy instruction, and then doing just some fun team building between the 2 staffs. As a campus, so a complete campus, we've also looked at ways of how we can do some common space community projects. This year, we are in the midst of doing a revitalization of our covered area, our playground, and we've been fortunate enough to leverage input from our older students at both schools. So they have worked together to provide ideas about what the future of our playground and our covered area could look like to really just enhance the experience that our kids get to have while they're at Sojourner and at Linwood. The last thing that we've worked on is a collaboration between the PTAs. Our PTAs have encouraged events and actions that benefit the whole building community. Some cool things that have come out of it is they work together to help buy benches for our school that we utilize out in our courtyard. They've helped organize courtyard cleanups, and they're supporting our efforts around green team and sustainability. Now we're going to take a moment to hear how some of our students feel that these beliefs have come to life.
What do we do at school to make sure everybody knows they belong at Sojourner? We want them to be here every day.
Take care of them, and we also put a sign on our school window that all are welcome here.
How do you know that the teachers at our school care about them?
Well, they always will help you, always. No matter what happened, they'll always help you. Any of the teachers. Let's just say you were going to class from opening. And you fell over, and then there's just like, for example, Mr. W nearby, he will help you. You know, he's not a recess teacher or your class teacher. He'll still help you. Anybody, even the kids, will always help you.
How do we at school make sure you know that your ideas are important and valuable?
You let us share them with the whole class, literally, the whole class. Sometimes they'll actually use your idea in the learning.
Is there anything else you'd like to share that you think is really great about our school or our teachers?
I really like that this school has so much opportunity to learn lots and lots from our teachers and each other.
I just want to say that I feel like I'm sad that this is my last year, but I feel like through like how open and how creative this school is just mind-blowing to me. Really happy about it.
What do we do as
Just kidding.
school to make sure?
And next up, we have one of our partners, Jane Rice, the PTA president.
Hi, good evening. So I'm the PTA president. I've been president here at Sojourner for the last 4 years. My daughters, I have a 5th grader and a 3rd grader this year. And as a PTA, we've helped fund multiple different things. We help with classroom grants for all our Sojourner classrooms. So the main classrooms, our flow classroom, all the music classrooms, and our Spanish classroom as well. We've organized courtyard cleanup. It's actually an old tradition, and we were just able to get back in and get in there this year and after the last 4 years and do some cleaning. We not only, like it was said before, we don't only work with Sojourner parents and staff, but we also work with the Linwood PTA. Together, our PTAs have shared resources. We've helped fix laminators and shared classroom supplies like the health rug and other resources. Over the last 4 years, we've been able to help supply different things. We've offset costs for different field trips and supply curriculum for the Spanish classroom. We've organized enrichment nights and park play dates, and we're looking forward to bringing those back in the near future. And our PTA works alongside with the foundation. And over the past 4 years, we've worked both in person and virtually to run community meetings and together make sure that our community is well supported. I'll go ahead and pass things off to Rob Beckloft, and he's our Sojourner Foundation president.
Hello, everybody. I'm Rob Beckloff. I'm the Sojourner Education Foundation president. This is my 2nd year as president. I live in Happy Valley, and I have 2 boys, kindergarten and 2nd grade. The Sojourner Education Foundation was formed to help raise money for the programs for the school. This includes the ORF, violin, Spanish, and flow programs. The additional cost for the programs is approximately $75,000 a year, which the foundation uses the auction, raffle, and program donations from family and the communities to help support these costs. This is a parent-run board that exists to raise funds so that all children in the community can participate without feeling the need to contribute financially to this program. And it's an innovative program that is unique in this area, and it allows kids to come participate in this program without having to pay. Seth has been working with Kelly to increase communication in the local community to do a better job at reaching out to families, to help reach more people. Working with Kelly has been great in that fashion. She has taken an active role in trying to help us. We want to get the message out to all the families in the community about this unique program. One of the important parts of this program is that the whole community has to participate. The parents and the grandparents that are in the community participate because their kids are there, but we also reach out to local businesses and community organizations to help donate for our auction and our raffle that help make this program successful. And then just in conclusion, I'd like to say that Kelly and Brian and the teachers at Sojourner have been a great partner as we team together to try and promote the program goals of the Sojourner School. Thank you.
And as we look to some of the specific goals that have guided us for the school year, we'll talk briefly about 3 of them. So for us as a school, we use multiple measures throughout the school year to make sure that our students are making growth and that they're on track to be at grade level. So one of our goals, real life in an office right there. So one of our goals for this year was to make sure that our students are making that growth. And we feel that we are on track when we look at our growth, our last benchmark, our students are making incredible growth. And when we talk about growth, we mean from wherever they were when they came this year in school, that each of our students is making growth from that point, whether or not they had skills that needed to have rapid growth, or they perhaps were already above benchmark, that they are also growing and thriving in our program. Another goal for us was what we call an MTSS process. What this stands for is essentially making sure that we have a multi-tiered system. So intentional supports that we're looking at for students who may need additional supports to make the progress that we would want for them and that they should expect to make in school each year. So for us as a system, we've been really focused on how do we make sure that we have a proactive approach and that we're using regular data practices and working as a whole school to look at our students. So not looking at them in isolation by an area such as reading or math, but really focusing on how do we look at the whole child and make sure that our system is responding to their needs in a way that is timely. And lastly, on this slide, our goal for us is to make sure that we are being representative of the North Clackamas School District as a school of choice. We believe that because we are a school of choice, we have that added responsibility to make sure that we are serving the full North Clackamas school community. It's important to us that families feel welcome and consider our school a place where their child can thrive. When we think about this year, we've been really focused on that community outreach. How do we make sure that our community knows of our school and that we want to serve them and their family? How do we make sure that the information we provide is accessible and it's being shared in a way that is timely and culturally responsive? So those have been some of our main goals for this school year. And leading into next year, a lot of what we'll be doing is building off of the work that we've started this year. We know that our work this year has been really centered on community between students and with staff, because so much of our world has been focused on in school. And it has felt very much, we felt that those impacts of we're here inside and there hasn't been that same momentum of visitors, other people in our school, and our community is missing that dearly. Our families are missing the opportunity to be a part of our day-to-day operations, to see what the life of their student looks like other than hearing about it when they pick them up. They're dearly missing that closeness and being a part of that community. And that's something that when we look to the future, we know we need to rebuild and expand those opportunities and have a stronger home school connection in the day-to-day pieces of our work. As we move forward, we want to continue our work with student and community representation. That means making sure that our student voices are included in even more decisions. So at the building level, making sure that we've heard them and that they have an opportunity to make an influence on the decisions that we're making as a school. It also means that we're going to continue to dig into our work and ask the question, who are we serving as a choice school and who is not choosing to come to our school and why might that be? And for us to take action on that and take it as a responsibility that we have.
And we're going to continue to refine our student support systems. We've learned a lot this year, and that's been added on from years prior, but we're going to continue to refine our systems and to respond to the needs that our students have today and to adjust based on what they have today and what comes tomorrow. On that note, I will again thank you for your time and just extend a thank you to the staff that are here tonight and to the many families and our staff that I know are online tonight. Thank you for all the support and making it possible. This truly is a really special place to work, and it's a privilege to be a part of.
Well, thank you for that. Questions from the board or comments?
Chair Ford.
Oh, Director Beverly.
Just want to thank you for the presentation. I think that I just wanted to point out a couple of things that I felt were really important that we highlight about that presentation from Sojourner. Just the uplifting learning environment. I think it's really important that we understand that every child learns differently and every kid needs something different to be successful, and that's okay. And I love to hear about the things that you're doing at Sojourner. I think it's also important for our community to know how much you collaborate with Linwood, sharing a space and sharing a campus, while still keeping your identity and your individualism. But I think it's important that we've all come to the realization that when you share that campus and you share the space, that we have to find a way to work together. So I think that was highlighted really well. And also, I want to just again say that even when your child doesn't go to Sojourner or doesn't choose one of our charter or magnet programs, I hope and feel that in the North Clackamas School District that all of us still support that school and support the environment. I think that is something that helps uplift those education communities where it doesn't matter if my child attends there. It's something that works for that community, and it's something that works for that group of students. And I just think that's really important. I would love to hear more. I know you're going to be working on the diversity of enrollment and how do you get the word around and how do you make sure that our community is aware of all that you do and what's available there. And I look forward to hearing more about how you tackle that and how that is successful for you. But thank you so much for the presentation. Very much appreciate the information.
Director Bauer.
Thank you, Chair Ford. I just had a couple quick questions, but agree that and love that we have choices in our district. But I did have a question about is that 150 a limit, because you had 250 that applied, it looks like, and what constitutes or having that limit or what?
So right now we enroll a kindergarten class is our biggest enrollment each spring. And that the size of that kindergarten class is based on the average size of a kindergarten class in North Clackamas. So for the 22-23 school year, we have an enrollment of 28 students. And so as you heard, the lottery, the applicants definitely far exceeds the spots that we have. That has been a trend for a number of years. The maximum enrollment really is influenced by what is a typical class size in North Clackamas. And right now we have one grade of each of those grades. So that's kind of how we got our parameter of how many students can come to our class, to our school.
Yeah, I also like your focus on stronger home school connection, and parents need to know that's where you start first, is with your classroom teacher and your principal, work within that community. So I'm glad that you are stating that, and it sounds like you're doing that. I just had one other little follow-up on the parent and foundation. The money that you raised I couldn't hear all of it, was used for Spanish program, and what were the other 2 or 3?
It's Spanish, ORF, flow, and violin. So it's music and arts.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know the second word you said, but it's music and art. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. I just had a few things. First of all, thank you guys. Thank you for your patience. I know we're a little behind, and You guys knocked it out the park with the presentation. Just for the sake of the audience that's listening, can you just briefly define a magnet school?
Yeah, so we are one of the choices within North Clackamas. So we are considered a North Clackamas school available to all North Clackamas families. But we are we're one of choices similar to the DLI choices. But we essentially are under all of the same policies and under the guidance of North Clackamas School District. Our staff are all North Clackamas School District employees. But by being a magnet, we have a focus that can feel different than what might be in another elementary school. So by that magnet, we have more of an emphasis on through the multiple intelligences, and that's where some of our programming might look different than in a neighborhood school.
Thank you for that. I also want to echo what Director Benaloga said about, highlighting your work and making sure that you get the word out there. And I would say a start would be to direct people to the YouTube channel and pick the minute that you began this presentation, because the voiceover work of Corey, I believe it was, they have a future in voiceover work because I can listen to them all night long. So I think that would be a great way to start. But thank you for coming this evening, and we look forward to seeing you guys continue to grow in the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have board reports. So I'll go right down the line. Director Strado.
Good evening, everybody. Through the course of testimony or today's presentations, I think clarifying questions from the public. When there's misunderstandings, I think people need to ask more clarifying questions, because sometimes you hear this amazing story and it's not possible. This can't be true. And when you want to ruin a good story, you hear more than one side. And clarifying questions could help people to better understand that everybody that I work with, including myself, I believe we wake up with a positive intent, that we're here to do good, that we're here to support the students, your children, and we're here, the board is here to support the entire ecosystem that we have. As far as teachers having licensed teachers, which we recognize tonight, I am dyslexic. I sometimes would say, well, I used to be. No, I'm not. You can probably detect it when I read. I read ahead, I process it, I try to do the best I can. But I would be one of those students that would have been lucky to been identified early on and gotten assistance. Licensed teachers, you change lives. You make it so that we, the students, have opportunities. My sophomore year high school counselor, Bob Schuster, drove me every single day to Sabin. I was the first underclassman at LaSalle allowed to go off campus, and he drove me every single day because I didn't have a car. And he changed my life. And I serve because of him. I give back. I'm not your typical board member. I don't think any one of us are typical. I was raised in high school. I wasn't raised by my parents. I was raised by others. So I understand different optics of the education process from the side you really wouldn't want to be on, where you don't know where you're going to sleep at night, where you can't read your assignments. But licensed teachers, thank you for what you do. All staff, thank you. You save lives, you make opportunities. And I have one more note here. Let's see, clarifying. Sexual education. Buckle up. Okay, so I was part of the curriculum adoption of that. And when I went to there, I was like, what? And I'm sitting here, but I asked clarifying questions. And at the end of the day, using anatomically correct body parts makes it so the pedophiles, the bad actors, the people who would say, oh, no, but I'm just tickling you. I'm just tickling you. No, they're sexually assaulting that small girl or that small boy. By saying anatomically correct words, you make it so the child can articulate what is happening and make it so it gets stopped. And the clarifying question needs to be asked from people who assume a negative intent, that why would we want to teach them anatomically correct body parts? It is to stop heinous things from taking place. And if you're, once you understand that, you should be on the side of education to help prevent bad outcomes. So I yield my time and thank you for allowing me to have microphone time.
Thank you, Director Benaloga.
Thank you, Chair Ford. There's been a lot going on in the last month or so. I think I am just one of our board members, and I speak for, I think that all of us believe that we're just all lifelong learners. It doesn't stop. So lifelong volunteers. I've been voluntold by Ms. Bauer many, many times. And lifelong learners. So I've been involved with the ROW collaborative meeting, which I just cannot say enough about. Harry Applebaum runs a great program over there, and he gets a lot of our nonprofits and our groups and our community groups together. And it's just a way of sharing information. It's fabulous. I'm involved with the benefit committee and the budget committee, always something to learn. I was able to go to the OSBA Future of Work presentation where they talked about what the county is doing at the county level and also what the technology industry and manufacturing and construction industry is doing and what they are concerned about when it comes to employment over the many years, over the course of the next few years. And then the OSBA listening session, which I think is important. I was able to attend we have Eco School. So our district works with the Eco School, and there's a steering committee, and I was able to go to their online steering committee. They gave me a list of things that they've worked on already, things like the milk dispensers, outdoor classrooms, durable silverware, the veggie gardens, composting, recycling, and sustainability curriculum. So these are all things that steering committee works on within our district. It was very interesting, and I'm going to be meeting with them again just to learn a little bit more about their training and how they train our parents and how they train the adults that actually get involved at each school. So I invite all of you to look into that as well. It's called Eco School. I also was involved in the food service proposal review, which we'll talk about a little later. And then just because my exchange students go to Milwaukee, I went to Milwaukee's Comedy Sports and their production of Midsummer Night's Dream. And I'm telling you, we have some amazingly talented kids in this district. I look forward to going to the other schools as well, but I have to admit they were pretty fantastic. So if you can get out there to a high school production, I highly recommend it. Thank you, Chair Ford.
Dr. Bauer.
Thank you, Chair Ford. I'll start off with Director McVeigh and I served on the board committee to participate in the classified bargaining, and that went really well. For me, it personally was such a learning experience. I mean, this staff is definitely part of the team, and I couldn't even begin to mention all of the different jobs that the classified do. They are so important. The tone set between the two parties, the interest-based bargaining is fantastic. And I have the greatest respect for both of our parties and the team working together. So that went really well. That is a committee, though, I think people don't realize serving on the board is a lot of outside work too. And that's one of the committees where we met 4 or 5 times from 11 to 5 one morning. So that's one of those duties people don't understand. And I just want to talk a little bit about serving on the board, because I don't think people understand that. I've been reaching out to a few of the PTAs getting out again, and that's one of the first thing I talk about. We only have 5 or 6 20,000 foot level that we work, and I'll mention those. Set the vision and strategic plan, and we're going to talk about that tonight. Adopt policy, evaluate the superintendent, adopt and oversee the budget, very important, participate in collective bargaining, and serve on various committees. So besides this, we don't have any power until we have a meeting. So it is something that, and I remind people, you start in your own communities to discuss things, your teachers, your principals. Start there. A few other things I'll mention. There was lots of training. I'm so glad we have OSBA. There was national conference. I know a couple other board members attended that. A spring listening session. I attended bonds, ballots, and buildings with a couple staff here. And boy, what an eye opener. That's around the corner for us. It's really important. And really enjoyed talking to the Oregon Trail PTO. And they've stepped up and they're getting even more involved in our community. So thank you for having me. And I'll be at another one next week. Just two other announcements. We will have, because of the interest in how important budgeting is and for people to understand and get the right information, the PCLA, Parent Community Leadership Alliance, which some of us are again involved there, Director Benaloga, and we're planning a budgeting 101. It'll be a webinar. We will announce that soon, and we're so grateful to our budget director and staff that are helping with that. It'll be May 18th at 6:30. So more to come. You can submit questions and we'll go over those. The last thing I want to announce is the annual gala, Saturday, May 7th. It supports our North Clackamas Education Foundation. I used to be on that board and they do a lot of great work. Please check them out on our website and attend if you can. Thank you.
You finished when I wasn't done my snack.
Sorry. You saw I had a lot.
I was trying to pace my snack eating with your, Okay. So my report is myself and Director Perez were able to speak at the PTA conference last week, and that was excellent. We spoke about the board's responsibilities with PTA leaders around the state. Budget committee was something that we all participated in, as well as I was able to speak at a transportation summit where there was a breakout room specific to students and safety of transportation and what that means. And of course, we do also, just to piggyback on outside work, we have a thing called board confers that we do before the meetings, as well as our chairs meetings with the superintendent. And myself, been doing a lot of reading on the financial cliff that I know that we are heading towards and how we get in front of that. Reading a lot about inflation, reading a lot about PERS and the upcoming retirement kind of influx in our education community, what that means for us, how do we get in front of that? And that is the outside work that I take real pride in doing, because I want to be able to come to the table knowledgeable with some information and be able to contribute to tables that are making really tough decisions for our community. And last but not least, I do want to go back to what Board Director Bauer was speaking about in terms of board responsibilities. I want to talk just a second about board process. This board meeting is something that the school district administrators work really hard to prepare. This board meeting's purpose is about board district business. I know that it feels really uncomfortable, that it's not a full discussion, but that's the purpose of this meeting. It is an actual statute that requires us to function in a very specific way. We do not have a lot of latitude in that. If that is something that's concerning to you, I highly recommend that you go to a different table and let them know that, but this is not the table. We're doing the work that we're supposed to do, and we're doing it very well, actually. And I'm really proud of our ability to do that. And with that, I'm also going to say that we will always listen, because we're here to listen. And we will always act and be acting in the best interest of the school district. But as a board chair, and I will say this for all of us, what we will not do is be disrespected. So it's really important that people acknowledge that we do this work because we love this community. And even those that don't have the best words for us, we still love you too. So thank you. Moving right along, we are next going to strategic planning. Tiffany Shireman, I see you on the screen.
I am here and will be sharing my screen. All right, I believe you should be able to see the slides now. Board Chair, board members, it's my pleasure this evening and with great pride, I'm coming forward tonight to talk with you about the strategic plan here in North Clackamas School District, as demonstrated by this board meeting so far tonight, a district worth a lot of pride. There are a lot of wonderful things going on here in our school district. And our strategic plan is meant to be our map forward, how to continue to move forward in a manner that leads us towards excellence. I am here tonight with Dr. Gail Juno Butler, who will be with me in our presentation. As a reminder, our strategic plan process is in motion as our current strategic plan sunsets at the end of this school year. In the interest of brevity tonight, based on the time and where we are on timing, I'm going to move a little more quickly than I typically would through the process slides here. But do want to remind you that we've moved through a rather comprehensive process that has involved a discovery phase, establishing priorities, and finalizing our plan. Tonight, we are in that blue box clearly around finalizing our plan. And after receiving your feedback tonight, the strategic plan is scheduled to return for your action at the next board meeting. So tonight is about feedback and discussion, and the next board meeting we're scheduled for action. I did mention earlier that there were multiple phases, and the discovery phase included, as we've discussed previously, surveying and focus groups. That was all described rather in rather broad detail at your February 10th meeting. So I will pause there in terms of going back over what that process was, but I'm happy, of course, to address that or answer any questions. At that February board meeting, we reviewed themes that had arisen to date, and we sought your input on core values and vision. And following that meeting, we circled back out to those who participated in the focus groups to get a better sense from them on how they were prioritizing themes and values. So do want you to know that we've done a stakeholder kind of feedback loop here since our February board meeting, which has helped to inform then tonight the proposed components of a strategic plan that we're bringing forward to you. Dr. Juno Butler.
Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, board. Thank you, superintendent. I'm glad to be part of this evening again. The first slide here, again, I'm Gail Juno Butler, and I'm with Studer Education. So in the event that we haven't met before, my role with North Clackamas School District has been lead coach on the strategic plan for the next 5 years. So as your current strategic plan sunsets, we have been working, or I have been working with the executive team and many constituents of the school district to write the following 5 items based on history and based on the direction that we're intending to move in the future. And we've been very successful at accomplishing input from constituents, including you. So all of the work that's happened, including the critical feedback that you've offered over time, has led us to a very solid end product that we're sharing tonight. And that's going to include the mission, which again, just a quick refresh, is intended to be a short and sweet version of what you do and deliver. The vision is that aspirational aspect of your strategic plan, what you aim to become or who you aim to become. We've worked together to construct values. That's our collective belief system, naming individual values, have been successful in that regard as well. By way of all of those interviews and surveys and then triangulation of that information, we were able to arrive at the pillars or the big aims for the district. And then under each of the pillar, the deliverables or the goals and express outcomes. So next slide, Tiffany, thank you. And a special thank you to Tiffany for lassoing a lot of the work over time in very successful ways. So for the purpose of announcement, we've spent a lot of time on mission, vision, and values. Here's where we are. We had many pages of a lot of language pointing in creative, expansive direction, but worked to get to the core of who we are, what we aspire to be, and by way of which values. That's represented in this slide. One short and sweet slide of mission, vision, and values. So I'll give you a chance to digest the fruits of your labor, so to speak. This will be the three-part mission, vision, and core values that guide your strategic plan for the next 5 years. Some comments by the exec team is that it feels thorough, it feels living, it feels full. There's vitality in these three constructs. So before moving to the next part, if you'd like to comment, I'll pause for a moment for comments on mission, vision, or values.
I would say, can we go through the whole presentation and then we're taking notes, so we'll have questions.
Sounds fair to me. Thank you. And thank you for clarifying cadence. So if you'll remember in the first slide that I talked about, the pillars are those big aims, and those are four for North Clackamas School District. And again, I know you're not seeing this for the first time, but just to provide that context for thinking as we move to finalization. If you think about the question of what are the four biggest aims of North Clackamas School District, well, by way of those interviews and surveys, we arrived at these: student experience and success, people and culture, which is mainly rooted in the employee engagement experience, family and community collaboration, and resources and services. So we've had various iterations of naming conventions around the pillars, a lot of time by individual members of the executive team together on polishing language. And this is where we've arrived for this evening. Those are the four pillars. So that will be one area in which your feedback will be valuable. As you indicated, you're taking notes and thinking about questions. So under each of the pillars is a broad definition. It's meant to give a sense of what is meant by the pillar above it. So I know that you're able to read and have read this document before. But again, just a reminder of what that's intended to be. And last but not least, under each pillar are those things that were mentioned enough, those action items that were mentioned enough as either historically relevant, important, and successful enough that it mattered to students and these four pillars above, that we want to keep that particular goal in the future strategic plan, or it's a goal that came to be and is new and different because of the voices of the stakeholders who participated. So the way that I organized these themes was as they bubbled up or presented themselves with enough frequency to exist as a theme in general for the strategic plan, I then took those most frequently occurring and placed them under their rightful pillar. So the second action, or maybe the third action, mission, vision, values. First, any comments by you on mission, vision, value? And then the second ask is the pillars, the goals. What is your feedback, or do you have any feedback on what has been identified and then themed and then placed into a category in the version of the strategic plan that is before you tonight? So this is your moment to ask questions and to offer feedback and to feel positive and convinced that this is your roadmap for the next 5 years.
Thank you for that. Board, who wants to go first? You laugh. Okay, Director Bauer.
Well, first, thank you. It was a lot of work, and I want people to know that this has been going on for quite some time. But when I looked back at my notes in the previous board meeting, we talked about, and I remember I had notes of relationship, equity, safety, empowering growth, valued, supported, learner, critical thinking, collaboration, career pathways, choices. I went back and I think I found them all in there. So I'm satisfied. I thought it was great. I just want to remind people that you went out and you contacted and you made an effort to get student voice, to get parent voice and staff voice. Altogether, you had 14,104 North Clackamas students, staff, and families. So thank you for that huge effort. And what helped me was the way you managed it into the themes, because there was so much information, but things percolated to the top, and that helped me. So all I have to say is thank you.
Appreciate the affirmation, and I have to say that may be the most specific and positive comment I've received in strategic planning. So thank you.
Yes, thank you, Chair Ford. Yes, thank you very much. I also want to just comment on a couple of things. I just really appreciated the very intentional outreach. It was very intentional to make sure that we reached as much of our community and as much of the stakeholders as possible. I think it's important just to remind everyone there was 1,257 responses to the survey and 1,460 voices total listened to and their thoughts brought to life here in this document between the focus groups and the surveys. I too went back through my notes and saw a lot of the things that we talked about: a joy of learning, fostering lifelong learners, being collaborative, elevating our staff from within. I think that's another important piece that you have in there. I also want to address that you talked about financial stewardship, and I know that that's something that North Clackamas, we've really prided ourselves on, the type of financial stewardship that we have, and investing in the long-term facility maintenance. I think it's important that we remember that our community supports that. Our community has supported us year after bond after year after bond. So that's much appreciated. I wanted to point out that it says that we're going to provide safe and flexible learning environments. And that is something that our bond enabled us to do, where we were able to upgrade schools and take care of the safety issues. But I would also just echo Director Bauer in that I saw a lot of our themes here, a lot of the things that we had discussed that we felt were important. And I also love that we listened to the community and that we heard them and that their words live and breathe in this document. And I think that's a testament to the process. And I do appreciate all the time and attention.
Thank you very much.
For the purpose of saving time, I wish to commend Director Benaloga and Director Bauer for the details of that. So thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, this is incredible work. Strategic planning leaders have a very special gift, and clearly you've presented that. And so I appreciate you sharing that skill with us. I have a couple of feedback comments, and then I just want to end with kind of a summary. So our mission, I think it's beautiful. One addition I'd like us to consider, the feel of it seems as though the students are responsible for the action of the local and global, and I feel like we're missing their personal quality of life in there. I don't know how we add that, but I would love to emphasize the fact that we want them themselves to be empowered first, and then of course contribute that to our local communities and global communities. And then in the vision, again, beautifully stated. There's so much in there that's just really, these are all strength-based sentences, which I think is really powerful when you're building up children to be their best selves. And I also would like to see kind of the same concept in it. I don't know how we cultivate that more in there. Core values, love it. Equity, relationships, integrity, empowerment, care. I think that's really powerful. Going to the pillars, I love them. I think that they're all beautifully stated. Under people and culture, the only thing I'd like to see us consider is the word is practices where each student and employee performs at their highest level. And I'd like to give them some more autonomy by saying can perform. I think it's important that we don't pass judgment on what the expectations are, but we place environments on them or give them environments that allow them to choose that kind of, elevation if that's what they want. And then last but not least, I just want to go to the strategic goals and the pillars and the details in the last slide. And I just want to publicly say the action words, which I know that that's been something that I've asked for. And so I want to kind of just say all the action words that I see here so that we can really kind of just be grounded in it. The focus of these details is based on develop, fostering, cultivating, embracing, strengthening, ensuring, providing, supporting, building, improving, creating, investing, and continuing. And I think it's really powerful that those are all the action words in here, because all those things speak to strength-based living. And I hope that's something that this community can continue from here and beyond, because that's what kids deserve. So really, really powerful statements in here. Unfortunately, with strategic plans, they're not often read, but hopefully with these beautiful words, people will read them over and over again so that they can remember the power of them. So thank you very much for that. I also want to say we are missing some board members, so I will send a message to them and ask them to also send you feedback so that that can be included in your knowledge in your influence. Okay, so this is just a discussion item and we'll be back, right? I see head nods and we look forward to that. Are we good?
Specific feedback.
Oh, absolutely. So am I supposed to be waiting for someone to read this slide that we're looking at?
I'm right here, Chair Ford. Can you hear Tiffany?
Yeah, we hear you.
Good. All right. So yes, we will review the feedback. We will be back on May 12th. The updated version will be in your packet next week for the May 12th board meeting. We then will initiate graphic layout, website development, and so on for a real strong rollout in August. That's where we're headed over the next couple of months.
Excellent. Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a strategic plan. Elvis. I'm so funny.
Great.
A little slow reaction.
That was great.
Thank you for that. Okay, it's getting late because I'm getting silly. Quarterly reports. Galen Jacobson, welcome.
Thank you. So tonight, I would like to share some highlights from the financial report for the, excuse me, for the quarter ending 3/31. Okay. March 31st, 2022. The projected ending fund balance is forecasted at 15.22% or approximately 40.6 million. Revenue from investments has been adjusted down by about $200,000 due to the sharp decline in interest rates and available investment opportunities. We have also made some adjustments to salary expense, expecting that with the move from having benefit doing the PERS pickup, we are seeing that that has moved to salary expense. That is one of the reasons that it has gone up. We originally thought that we would see some decline in substitute expenses, but those have been more on par with what we would normally expect. And so I didn't want to make any adjustments down, but have adjusted them up slightly. We have adjusted benefits down slightly due to the fact that we are now seeing that those benefits have moved up into salary expense from being the PERS pickup to salary expense. Expenditures overall are still trending a little bit low, mostly because of the benefit expense, or benefit change. The one thing that we aren't sure of yet in expenditures is how many supplies and materials we will actually, that are encumbered currently, we will actually receive before June 30 because of supply chain issues. So although I'm predicting that we will expend those amounts, if we don't, they will fall into ending fund balance. And then next year we will reappropriate them to be spent on the things that we've already ordered, but will come in the following year. Right now, the only revenue that is still unknown is the May adjustment, both for the 2020-2021 school year. The final adjustment for that, we received an initial draft a week ago, and that has now been superseded because of some changes with federal forest fees. So the state has had to rebalance the entire state school fund and may have to go back as far as 17-18 school year. So expect that there may be more adjustments to come. Federal forest fees have now moved from being a local source of revenue to not. So they can't supplant any state school fund. So they're currently doing some adjustments on that, and it's going to take a while, but the May adjustment they've done a preliminary on that came out today. I haven't had a chance to even look at it yet. and we are hoping that we will see a final within the next week or two, and then the May adjustment will come out. But it also affects this current school year. So the current school year will also have all of those federal forest fees taken out. And they're doing a rebalancing of the current year. So that will also, we get our final payment in May for 21-22, and that is being currently adjusted. Those numbers are clearly not reflected in anything that we have here. So because we still don't know where the ball is going to land. But I thought I'd give you that update that is happening. The other thing that you have in front of you is the investment reports. They're standard that we've had. You will notice the rate of return has plummeted sharply. We are getting changes to the local government investment pool, rate changes monthly now. So
expect that, I expect that they will actually go tick back up again a little bit with the latest changes to interest rates, but we haven't seen a big move there yet. So with that, are there any questions?
Questions?
Thank you, Gail. Just remind me what the high cost disability grant is, because that went down about the same amount of the change in the common school fund, which you said isn't permanent, but.
Right. The high cost disability grant, the other piece of that is that we haven't had as many outplacements for our students. So high cost disability is any special education student whose cost is more than $30,000 a year for that student. That goes into a pool. The state says how much did everyone spend over that limit? And they have a pot of money that then they allocate across, they allocate across the schools. That has, the pot has increased, which is good, but some of our expenditures have decreased given the inability to get students into some of these, some of the outside programs. So I'm anticipating that we will have a little bit less in high cost disability.
Thank you.
And I just, this question is more because I don't know, and it's always better when I ask questions like that. Going back 10 years or so, some school districts didn't spend enough money on special education or something, and then there had to be a corrective action that took place. And does high needs fall into the same category where we cannot spend less than the previous year?
No. So it does, the cost that we spent, what we spend on high cost students goes towards our maintenance of effort, which is that whole program of you must spend as much on all of your special education students as a whole. The only way you can get that maintenance of effort decreased is if you actually do have high cost disability students that move out, that graduate out, and they're not replaced by other students, or who move out of the system and are not replaced by other students. That's one of the ways, or if your overall population of special education students reduces enough that it causes you to spend less.
Yes, thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you for that. Might as well stay there.
I will.
Next on our agenda is the contract award, food service management company. This is an action item. Whenever you're ready.
All righty. We are asking that you approve awarding a contract to Compass Group USA and through its Chartwells division for district food service management services for an estimated 1-year amount of $2.276 million. And that is an estimate based on past costs for the number of students that have had meals, right? And so we're going back a couple of years to say this is what we think the meals will be, because obviously we will not have free and reduced next year, or we will not have free for, or no cost lunch for everyone. It's not free.
Okay. Are we ready for a motion, or we need? Okay. Open floor for a motion.
I move board approval of awarding the contract to Compass Group. Am I on the right? Oh,
yes.
Am I? Okay. I'm thinking I'm on the wrong one. Compass Group USA, Inc. by and through its Chartwell division for district food service management services for an estimated 1-year amount of $2,276,114.
I offer a friendly amendment. Can that be not to exceed? Is that a fair thing, or is this?
I would not. The reason I say that it would be difficult to say it couldn't exceed that, because if we do have more student participation, it could be more than that.
And if it does go more, would that number then come back to this board for an update?
Yes, we can do that.
Okay.
So there's no amendment.
Okay. There's a motion on the table.
Second,
Bauer, go ahead.
Director Schrader will second.
It's been properly moved by Director Benaloga and second by Director Schrader. You good, Donna? Okay, any discussion? Oh, Director Benaloga?
I just want to say really quickly, and I know it's getting late, but this is a really thorough committee, had a lot of voices, a lot of people with practical experience, a lot of food service managers were there, and a lot of people within the district, Gail, and of course, principals were there, and our wellness director was there. So there was a lot of people in the room that had a lot of a wealth of knowledge to make sure that the right choice was made. So I just wanted to make sure that our community knows that it was not just a rubber stamp. It definitely was. It was a lengthy discussion. It was a robust discussion, and it was a good learning process for me. I enjoy learning about the program very much.
And students too.
Yes.
Okay, let's go for a vote. This is money, so I'm gonna do a roll call. Director Schrader,
Aye.
Director Benaloga,
Aye.
Director Bauer,
Aye.
and Director Ford is also aye. Motion passes. Thank you very much for your work on this. Next, we have our contract award, comprehensive facility assessment. This is an action item. Welcome.
Thank you. The last time I presented for you in terms of the report on the 2016 capital construction bond, I said this year was about closeouts and some other activities. This agenda item speaks to exactly one of those closeout items. As part of that closeout, we are going to be conducting a comprehensive facility assessment of almost 3 million square feet. That's how many square feet we have in the school district. That's a big job. We need help to do that. And part of that is to hire or award a contract to McKinstry for a district comprehensive facility assessment in the amount of $407,742. That will kick off our long range facility planning as well.
Okay, I'll open the floor for a motion.
Move approval of a comprehensive facility assessment for the amount of $407,742 even.
And contracted to,
My browser just, could you, will you tell me the name?
The award would be contracted to McKinstry.
To McKinstry.
excellent. And properly moved. Do I have a second?
Bauer, second.
Excellent. Any discussion? Director Bauer?
Great job on the bond. Way to go.
Anything else? Okay, hearing none. Again, it's about money. I'll do a roll call. Director Benaloga,
Aye.
Director Schrader,
Aye.
Director Bauer,
Aye.
Director Ford is also aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much for that. Thank you all for watching and attending our meeting. I remember in school that in English, you learn the who, the what, the when, and the why, and that infamous non-W how. And I will say that the how is really important on how you present yourself in all settings. So appreciate everyone that came out today, and you guys have a great night. Meeting adjourned at 9:03. Good night, guys.